What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel for another weekly update. Hope everybody's having a lovely weekend. And with that being said, let's get into the charts, guys. We got an exciting week ahead of us. And why do we have an exciting week ahead of us? Because we have either just topped out or we are going to be topping out. Very likely going to be topping out this week or the next week. I mean, either way, I'm not looking at a time period for this to go down. All right. I am just going to be showing you the conditions that I'm going to be looking at. And yeah, I mean, I'm seeing conditions pop up that suggest, hey, all right, QQQ either it literally just topped, all right, or we're going to be topping next week, all right, after having that pullback. So let's go over this real quick. Let's run through this and see if we got anything important going on here. All right, so Cook, that is a dove. All right, you got over here, I think you had Bullard, Hawk, and then you had one more. And then Bullard again. All right, so you got Bullard speaking twice, and you have over here, you actually could see, all right, the biggest dove right there. So there's that. And then you have Bullard at the bottom. Look at that. You have the biggest dove speaking this week, and then you have the biggest hawk speaking twice this week. So that is the thing. This is probably going to end up moving the mark. Oh, you also have Mr. Mester over here, eh? My bugging, is Bullard not speaking twice? No, he is. All right. And then you have Mester. Mester is a... Where are you? Where are you? Come on. Where are you at? There you are, buddy. You're a hawk. Okay, so we got two hawks speaking. We have one dove. All right, but I guess it's not really too important. All right. I mean, well, to me, it's not too important. All right, guys. At the end of the day, I just sit here and watch the charts. All right. These are going to be giving you reactions. All right. So that's why I like knowing about them, which is why we go over this economic calendar pretty often here in these videos. All right, if you are new here to the channel, just know that we do like to connect the dots, all right? And you're going to see how we do so in this video. So if that is something that you enjoy after you get to the end of the video, hey, consider sticking around. We'd love to have you. All right, but yeah, you have this over here. And honestly, guys, these two are probably going to be the only real things that, other than these Fed speakers, that really are going to be, you know, have the potential at, you know, causing a big reaction. I mean, job openings, nah, it's whatever, right? At the end of the day, I'm just going to be watching the charts, and the Fed speakers are the only, except for what I just pointed out, all right? These are the things that are going to, like, hey, all right, like, maybe they do throw a freaking shock out there, all right? You never know what these Fed speakers are going to say or what this data is going to come out as. All right. At the end of the day, yes, I do watch the charts, but hey, these are going to be the only variables that really could throw a monkey wrench at me. All right. So, yeah, that is that. All right. But we're going to start off over here with the weekly time frame. And actually, before we go over the weekly time frame, I'm just going to flash this real quick. Right. So this thing is back up in neutral. All right. A week ago, you see this thing was at fearful. All right. Well, guess what? 2 weeks ago, you're at extreme fear. All right, you were all the way down here, right? Literally 2 weeks has gone by, and you were at your previous bottom, and now we have gone on a, I want to say it's, yeah, 10% rip, guys. In 2 weeks, 10%. All right, over here, you actually went on a 20% rip. All right, and in 2 weeks, you did just about get that 10% right there. All right, so hey, I'm open to the possibility of going higher. Okay, I want to make that very clear. I'm not a perma bull. I'm not a perma bear. That's not what we do here on the channel. Okay, at the end of the day, we're here to make money, and the only way to do that is trading without a bias. All right, you see things on the chart, you pull your triggers. All right, you pull enough triggers over extended amount of trades. There you go. You should be profitable given a you know, solid risk to reward ratio. And yeah, there you go. You're using the same risk management on each and every trade. There you go. All right. And guess what, guys? Guess what? We are approaching one right here. All right. That is what is going on. All right. So we're going to start here on the weekly time frame. All right. And let's just look at what I'm just going to point out the obvious things I'm seeing on the chart, and then we will just go over all the factors as we go through the video. All right. But let's get the obvious things out of the way here on the weekly time frame. All right. You got declining volume going on as you are literally rallying. You have 3 weeks of rally as the second 2 weeks here have declining volume. All right. Yes, the initial one got you off the ground, but hey, all right, it's showing that the buyers are drying up, guys. They're fizzling out. All right. So I'm going to point out the last time this exact thing happened. All right. You had 3 weeks of declining volume over here. All right. And guess what? All right. If we are going to mimic what we had there, we're going to have 1 more week of that declining volume, and then we're going to see the top right after that week. All right. I don't think that's going to be the case. All right. Which we're gonna go over that in this video. All right. I will show you. But yeah, right off the bat, I do not think that will be the case. But I'm just showing you, hey, this pattern right there on your volume, it leads to rug pull. That's all it shows you. Like, let's just look at the psychology of what's going on here, right? Price is moving up, but buyers, like, there's less buyers as you move up higher. That's like literally, that doesn't add up. All right, that the trader slash investor psychology does not go with this price action if there's less buyers showing up. It just doesn't make sense. All right, so right off the bat, there's that. All right, so we move over to SPY. What do we also have? We have the same exact thing. Move over to DIA. We have the same exact thing. You also have this decreasing volume. All right, let's go back over to QQQ. All right, the second thing I'm going to point out here is you do have this bearish divergence going on your CCI. All right, now, I know you haven't had one form here on QQQ, but you did have a big fat one, just like what we see there on QQQ, form at the exact top on SPY. This was where you had formed that, all right? And now we are seeing pretty similar thing pop up over here on QQQ, all right? So that is also something to be noted. But then again, that has been a factor that we have had for quite some time, all right? So it's not too important to me, all right? But it does show whenever this thing does go, it's probably going to be it's going to be a rug pull. It's going to... all right, people right now are asking themselves, when is this thing ever going to come back down? When is this thing ever going to even pull back? All right, well, guess what? You're going to see the people, these thoughts are going to completely be non-existent in likely a few weeks. I don't know, that's why I said, I don't know a time frame on this thing. All right, I'm just going to follow the charts, and that's what we do here, all right? But yeah, all right, there is going to be a time when you're going to be in, see how you're going like that? All right, well, guess what? You're going to be going like that. And during all this red, all right, over here, you're going to have the dip buying crowd come in and say, oh, trend is changing, and then boom, all right, they might suck you back down. And then people are going to be asking the opposite of what they're asking right now, all right? They're going to be asking, hey, when are we finally going to see the buyers step back in? When are we finally going to see the red end? All right. But yeah, that's what's going on right now. So just trying to take you into hey, the psychology of what's going on here is, hey, everyone is flipping their sentiment. I'm seeing a crap ton of comments all over online, all right, on Twitter and YouTube and Weeble as well. Just pretty much, I don't even want to say yeah, there's bear shaming going on and stuff like that. I'm not seeing too much of that. And I think that's going to be the final sign there for us. Are we seeing people come out telling people they're wrong, they're about to lose all their money, you're going short when it's clearly in a bull trend, I'm seeing some of that, but I'm not seeing the most of that, and I think that is pretty aligned with what I'm seeing right here, all right? But what I am seeing is a bunch of bears throwing the towels, all right? And I'm that right there is a sign that yes, all right, we are not thinking with the crowd here. We are on the right page here. And I mean, I obviously, I do believe I am not thinking with the crowd, but that is proof that I'm not just, confirming that thought to myself that I'm not thinking. That's proof, all right? That is proof, is what I'm getting at, all right? But yeah, coming over here to DIA. So DIA, literally, when we were down here, literally at the exact bottom. Oh, by the way, exact bottom over here on IWM as well, all right? We were saying something is up, all right? But exact bottom over here on DIA. We were saying that every other time your CCI, we're on IWM, that's what it is, all right, DIA. We were saying every other time your CCI has been down to this level, this bear market, it has been an amazing buying opportunity. Well, guess what? Every time it got down to this level out of this bear market, it's also been an amazing buying opportunity. All right, so I said it's the same thing I was saying with VIX, and we'll go over the VIX in a second here. All right, well, not in a second, but in a little. But over here on DIA, you were either going to be crashing or you were going to get a significant bounce here. This was going to be your buying opportunity. Well, guess what, guys? That is exactly what happened. Now we do have that decreasing volume, which shows us that, hey, buyers are not behind this move. These two higher highs here, these big green candles, all right, they came with decreasing buy volume. Shows us that, hey, all right, they are fizzling out, which means, all right, it's not going to be going up. Oh, hey, perfect example of this, by the way. Literally right here, all right, you had the decreasing buy volume, all right, you had your peak week, boom, you started to go down. I don't know if that's what we see here, all right? I'm just pointing out what I see on the charts, all right? But right here, all right, you came over here, you stepped back up, and then boom, you came back down. and you came back in for the lower low. All right. Well, this kind of aligns with what I am seeing. All right, guys. I don't think we're gonna get a massive crash right here. All right. I think we're probably just gonna see these cycles continue in the markets. That's all we're gonna see, guys. Who cares? All right. Like if the crash happens, crash happens. All right. You're just playing the short setup as it comes to you. All right. Like in reality, guys. All right. The market crash is not gonna happen when everyone knows it's about to go down. And then the market crash will happen when everyone is completely clueless. Right now, you're seeing investor sentiment, market sentiment, trader sentiment, whatever you want to call it, sentiment is completely flipping to bullish. All right. So, you know, the rug pull here in this scenario, it is going to be to the downside. All right. Like bears are getting a run for their money right now. But guess what? All right. You know, they're feeling the pain right now. The bulls, they can't just have like sweet dreams forever, right? I'm serious, guys. There is a possibility that this thing, we continue on up this week, all right, until this thing gets over here, because that is literally, like, all in all, this is the one indicator that's going to show you, hey, sentiment is literally on the opposite side of the trade right now, all right? If this thing is over here and you have a bearish setup, like what... If that thing gets up to where we, like, you know, if it gets back up here, all right, and we have the same exact setup we're rocking with right now, I'm full bear mode. Well, I'm not full bear mode, but, you know, like, that is when I'm going to be, yeah, all right, that is, like, I mean, obviously, I'm going to take the trade setups as they come each and every time. I'm going to keep pulling these triggers, but, that is when, I mean, hey, guys, that's when you, like, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen. Nobody has that crystal ball, but that is when you know it's an extremely high likelihood that, yeah, you were on the right side of the trade there if you're going short. All right. So that is what I'm going to be waiting for, to really have that confirmation. Like, hey, all right. Like, hey, yeah, you're going down. You're going timber. All right. You had literally had the exact opposite sentiment down here, and you skyrocketed. All right, guys, it doesn't just go like shorts. Yes, the shorts get squeezed and they cause this thing called a short squeeze. Well, guess what? Nobody calls it a freaking long squeeze. All right. But this is the same exact thing that happens to the downside. The same exact thing. All right. It's when a bunch of longs are panic selling and they call it covering with shorts. Well, guess what? You're selling with your longs. All right. So the same exact thing here can happen here. And this is why, like, hey, all right, don't freaking, you know, just take that bias out of your life. There's no point in having it. All right. You'd much rather just, it's much easier to just sit there and keep pulling your triggers. All right. There's no reason not to. All right. So we went over the weekly time frame on DIA, IWM, SPY, and QQQ. All right. The last thing I'm going to touch on right here is actually, you can see it on SPY and SPX. You are back testing this rising wedge. Like you could see it, you can actually see it very well in the daily time frame. But yeah, as you have that decreasing volume stepping in, you also have the CCI. If you put a horizontal line there, you can also see that it's in the same exact spot. You peaked out at your August high. All right. I'm just saying. All right. You now have, like, before I was literally saying things didn't add up. All right. With how DIA and IWM and SPY even was looking like, hey, yes, QQQ had a sell setup, but these others did not. All right. So it did not make sense. And this is what I was saying at the beginning of the video. If you're new to the channel, guys, all we do here is connect the dots. All right. That is literally what we do each and every video is we sit here and we connect these dots. If you want to bring an order to the chaos in your life, well, if you're into the market than it is in your life, like me, then there you go. All right. Here you go. I got you. All right. Well, we got each other. There you go. But yeah, over here on IWM and DIA, like this made absolutely no sense. But then you had QQQ up here and like, look at that. Like, hey, yeah, you still have a bunch of room to fall on the weekly time frame. Well, guess what? All right. It didn't make sense. You had at the same time that was going on, you had this going on. All right. Every time you've gotten a bullish divergence in oversold territory here, or even just got into oversold territory during this bear market, all right, this was where your buying opportunity was. So again, all right, we're seeing confluence here between what I was just saying with DIA, like, hey, this every time the weekly CCI came down to this level, even out of the bear market, this was your buying opportunity. But in the bear market, this was literally the exact bottom. Well, guess what? We just saw that exact bottom over there on DIA. So we also had something over here on IWM suggesting that we are about to get a rather explosive bounce. And you can go back and I showed you the statistics there. Well, I went over. Well, yeah, I showed you and I told you. That's the point of these video updates, right, guys? I get to talk and I get to show you what I'm talking about. So yeah, all right. I really do hope everybody's finding value in this. Please support the channel with a like if you are finding value in this, especially if you're making money off it. All right, there is that. But over here, guys, you literally had the bullish divergence popping up, and then you came down over here, and now you have the triple bullish divergence. Now I'm like, what the flipping flopping? Now it really doesn't make sense. All right. Well, guess what? So now we have DIA suggesting that this is a buying opportunity. We have IWM suggesting, yeah, you're about to have a rather explosive bounce, right? I think it was like a $10 move before coming lower. You guys can go back and watch if you want, all right? Yeah, there's that, all right? I know for guys, we called quite a few shots here on this channel, all right? I'm pretty proud of that one. Then again, I mean, who freaking being proud is stupid, so who cares? Who cares? But yeah, over there on VIX, so you had those two factors agreeing with each other. So confluence factors going on over there, appreciating factors for what I was getting at. And then you also had this going on. All right. And this is where everyone was, you know, crapping their pants. All right. And guess what? I then also pointed out the RSI every single time tops here. VIX tops every single time here unless you're going through a crash at 70 on the RSI. Literally every single time. This is exactly where you top out. All right. You don't stay up here. All right. So anybody buying VIX puts or buying calls, all right, on SPY, all right, or SPX, all right, this is where you want to be doing that. And yeah, the only time you're not going to be doing that is if you have your crash, right? And here we had the crash where you just stayed up there for, you know, quite some time, all right? But guess what? I was also connecting the dots saying, guys, it makes no sense that they're going to, you know, let everybody get paid here as, yeah, as everyone's piling in short. It makes absolutely no sense, guys. The dealers make money when they, let's just say this, okay? If more people are right than the dealers, all right? Like if more than 50% of people are on the right side of the trade, dealers lose money. All right. That's at least how I look at it. All right. And it makes sense to me. All right. Well, guess what, guys? Dealers don't want to be losing money. So if everyone knows about something, that does imply that more than 50% of people are going to be on one side of the trade. And there you go. You know, dealers or investors / traders are going to be making more money than the dealers. So in what world does that make sense? All right. There's one scenario where like the dealer is never going to let that happen. All right. I'm just going to say that right now. Dealer's never going to get screwed. And that's like the kind of scary part, because if you catch, and this is kind of why I'm not going to say I think this is why crashes happen, but this definitely influences this freaking this liquidity crunch that we saw over here in over here, all right, how you just, like, it was crazy, all right? This is the crash, and what causes these things, I'm guessing, is this, all right? So dealers, all right, say you know, they get caught with their pants down, all right? In order to not lose money to the dealer has to flip, all right? So if they're, yeah, if they get caught with their pants down, they're going long, all right, and buy open, you know, if that's going on, and they determine, oh, crap, we're screwed, we have to go with them, we're not playing them anymore, all right? That is when the dealer trades with the people and they flip short. All right. So in this case, you would have, yeah. All right. So like, let's just look at it this way. Okay. You have a lot of short squeeze fuel, right? Well, what happens when you double that short squeeze fuel and none of the people start covering that? All right. And I'm not just saying that is what equals a crash. I'm just walking you through what happens with dealers. All right. Like if they don't want to get screwed in these scenarios where they are screwed, they have to flip and they cause a big reaction. All right. It's always going to be impulsive when it happens, which could explain some of these moves. But at the same time, all right, I'm going to be honest. Dealers have probably been winning so freaking much in this market. The fact that technicals have been, they've been really working in this bear market shows me that, hey, all right, algorithms are doing their thing, all right? Or, you know, all right, that's, I mean, I'm guessing algorithms are responsible for all of these. Well, I mean, it's not just algorithms, because it can't be, all right? It's literally just, yeah, actually, it's psychology. It's literally, yeah, never mind. Okay, the market, all we're looking at right now is trader psychology. That is what's going on here. All right, let's get back in the charts. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there, all right? Let's get back in the charts, though, all right? So at the same time that all that is happening, you have SPY backtesting this rising wedge. That is not okay. All right. But you do also have this increasing buy volume. We'll go over that in a little bit. I'm just going to make my case here first. And yeah. All right. So you are back testing this rising wedge. You have your CCI here. And I'm just going to show you guys what I'm looking at. All right. So every single time your CCI has hit here, we'll just run through it together. Okay. We'll run through it together during this bear market. All right. So you hit it right here. All right. So we're just going to go from the high of that day, not the high from over here, the high from that day. All right. You had an $11 pullback. All right. So let's look at the next time. Well, here you literally hit your peak. And that's why I say, like, hey, we're peaking, or we're about to have one more push and then we're going to go peak. I'm going to show you the other factor that I'm looking at to make that call. All right, over here. All right, you then fell $8.50. All right, yes, you went higher. All right, you went like, I think it's $3 higher. All right, but from that close there, all right, or from that high of day, you then fell about $8. All right, then let's go to the next occurrence. Okay, over here, from this high of day, just about right there. All right, you then fell $6. All right, you come over here. All right, and from this high of day, you then fell $8. All right. So we have a minimum here of $6. All right. So, and you haven't hit it ever since. All right. Well, not ever since, but outside this bear market, I'm not looking at these. All right. I'm not. I'm looking at the bear market, and that is it, because this is the conditions that we have. Yeah, that's going on right now. All right. These are the same conditions. All right. These, what's going on over here, QE, that does not apply to what's going on here. Okay. QT and QE. QE makes markets go up. QT makes markets go down. Slash, I mean, from what we're seeing, sideways. All right. So yeah, different conditions, different, resolution here. All right. Or different result. But yeah, I'm going to now come over here to QQQ, and I'm going to point out, all right, first of all, yeah, you do have the bearish divergence going on your daily CCI there, but you do have the RSI above 68. Okay. So we're just going to mark out right here. Right there. Okay, so right about 68. All right, so let's just look. The last time you hit here, from the high of day there, you then had $7 pullback there, and then you pushed on up, and that was your peak. All right, but $7 pullback, keep that number in the back of your mind. All right, you come back over here. All right, you hit it on this day. All right, from that high of day, you then fell about $7. All right, so again, $7. All right, and that's it. All right, so it happened twice this bear market so far, and then we have that other condition that we just went over there on the CCI of SPY. All right, both of these suggest a pullback is incoming. All right, QQQ's RSI specifically suggests to me that, yeah, we either are peaking right now, all right, or we are going to pull back, go on up. This high right here is going to be your peak. All right, and we're just going to take this off. All right, but I'm going to show you, okay? You literally did the same exact thing right here. Came down, all right? And then from this, you hit this high at 298 here, went all the way up to 313. So yeah, it can go up a decent amount more. We can literally push up to this high, all right? Like, let's just do some simple math here, all right? From this high of day, even like without excluding that pullback, you still went about $15 higher. All right, so you still went. Oh, that's the August high. Sheesh. We're putting that on the chart, baby. We're putting that on the chart, baby. There we go. All right, let's, it's a tough one. I guess it would be right there. All right, let's just pull you over there. All right, so I guess that is it. Make that a red zone. Okay, that is where, hey, you're hitting it with the double top, baby. All right, an extremely high probable double top if you get in there. All right, now I'm also going to say, hey, all right, there's a high probability you pull back from the zone, all right, and have a decent pullback, all right, but we're going to go over the 4-hour time frame real quick after we finish going over the daily time frames, all right, or the daily charts, I should say, and I will show you I think I have 3 possible, I guess there's 4 possible scenarios, but I'll show you my possible scenarios, right? But over here, I just want to point out that you do have increasing volume on QQQ, IWM, DIA, and SPY, and SPX, of course. But yeah, all right, so that is taking place, which does suggest that buyers are going to get their way on the following trading session, which is Monday. And you did close it high, so that either way, all right, buyers get their way by having a gap up or by coming over this high, all right? So, yeah, both of those lead to buyers getting their way. All right, I do think you go higher on Monday, and that likely aligns with QQQ coming right up into that gap fill. Now I'm going to point out over here on IWM. All right, IWM. All right, so I pointed out on the weekly CCI over here on DIA that you came all the way back up here. This is literally where you came back up to over here and then turned right back down for a very violent 2 weeks of selling right there at a weekly gap down. Are you kidding me? That's insane. Weekly 2% gap down. What was the fear that was going on back then? I don't even remember. Oh, I actually thought the market was going to crash back then. All right. That was, and that's what I'm saying. All right, guys, like, hey, you bet on the wrong side. All right. You go with the crowd and get sucked into this trap of going back and forth. Oh, dude, you're getting your ass handed to you over and over and over again. It's not worth it, guys. It's not worth it. Just literally do your dang best to not think with the crowd. All right. But yeah, you had that going on over here. And now, like I'm saying, hey, I'm completely open to going down here, and we're showing you things on QQ and SPY's daily time frame that's just, yeah, we're really close to that peak. All right. And now you come over here to, what was it just going to show you? IWM. All right. IWM over here on the RSI. You are now, let's just put a thing right here. All right. This is literally where you were on this day. All right. Your high this day was here. All right. This RSI it's now at 49.73. On this day, it was at 48.97. You then fell without getting any meaningful bounce. You then fell about $20 to then bounce $8. And then you came down from that high $11 lower. All right. So yeah. All right. I am completely open to seeing, yeah, all right, like everything that I was saying didn't make sense before, it's now corrected itself. That's what I'm getting at. And not too long ago, I did give you guys 2 scenarios that I was looking at. One in which we see IWM's RSI get the bounce it needs to then be taken lower, where we then see QQQ setup start playing out, all right, or the other one where we see QQQ end up going down, all right? So we would see IWM's RSI get even more oversold over here, and then we would get a rather large a rather large buy, all right? We would get a really big buy move, all right? Well, I didn't say really big. I said rather decent, all right? So we either had a rather decent sell or a rather decent buy on the table, all right? Well, right now we're getting the little move up that's going to give that did give IWM the room that it needed to fall back down for another leg, all right, to then, match what's going on over here with QQQ. All right, so we got that, guys. All right, I laid out the 2 scenarios. That was even before I pointed out this, all right, and this is on your RSI here, which is why I don't think you're going to push up here and come all the way up here. Like you pushed it, I think it was 74 up here on your RSI. Yeah, 73, 76, all right? I don't think that's going to happen. I think this bearish divergence here on QQQ, this big one, is going to end up holding. All right, it's going from there all the way down there. All right, but even if you do end up pushing up here, this is what I was saying. Before I spotted this bearish divergence, this is what I was calling out, is like, hey, this is what I'm watching for to call top on SPY and QQQ. I wouldn't be surprised to see them both and do it together. All right, you see the RSI over here on SPY, guys, it's at like 60. All right, it's at 62, 61.97. All right, so like, yes, a top is very likely right around the corner. All right, right around the corner. But guys, all right, again, it can continue higher. So now let's look at these lower time frames and look at what I am going to be watching for, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, all right, we know that we are very likely going to see, like extremely likely, right around the corner from a major top, all right? Just like I was saying, down at the bottom, we had this bottom over here, all right? Well, guess what? Let's just, there you go, all right? Just imagine being able to play that. There you go. And guys, I don't mean like, hey, we're not going to get this. It doesn't have to be a freaking crash. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm just like, I'm like, honestly, all in all, guys, like QQQ never tested this structure that it broke out from. Okay. It never tested this thing. All right. So at the end of the day, this minimum is really what I'm looking for on this move down. All right. But like I do see, yeah, okay, like it's very likely going to be a bigger sell. All right, you see the bearish divergence that hasn't popped up since the exact top, and we have a bigger one going on here that took more time to form. All right, then you also have over here on Apple, and the reason I don't think this divergence is going to be broken here, look at that breakout on Apple. Maybe you really do come up all the way to the 171.31 gap fill. All right, shout out to the Patreon for that entry. All right, there is that. Get that next week. All right. But again, I mean, look at this. You do have it agreeing with the all four of the indices over there. You do have the buy volume, the increase in buy volume suggesting you're gonna go up, make a new high on Monday. All right. So I don't know if you come up here and fill this gap here, but I'm gonna be watching the indices. But yeah, you have that same bearish divergence on Apple over there. All right. So now let's look at the 4-hour time frame. All right, and this is what I'm ultimately going to be watching for. All right, you're going to be watching for the trend. All right, you did break your high here. We're going to be watching to see if buyers step back in at this previous top. All right, so automatically the first reaction spot is going to be 313.68. All right, the second one is going to be this 308.20 gap fill. All right, that is what I'm going to be ultimately looking for. Now the thing about this is, even if you come back and you get your buying pressure on this gap fill, that is still going to set up a higher low. All right. But you see, you are coming close to that. Okay. And that actually probably would end up setting up some sort of pattern. All right. Like, oh, that would set up a sexy pattern. So this is what I'm saying. All right. So I kind of got 3 scenarios, but one scenario ties into the other anyway. So it's like 4. It's like 4, but yeah, 2 are conjointed. So let's do it. Okay. So you got 1. You come down here, you get the higher low. You come back up here and you test that. You get rejection for the double top. All right. So right here, double top is scenario number 1. That is what I'm looking at. Scenario number 2. Come down here for a higher low. Go off to the races. All right. You're probably coming up to that August high. Most likely. Obviously, I'll be watching for my conditions to pop up. But hey. All right. Yeah, that is what I'm going to be looking for after that. All right. That is the next point of, yeah, that's the next reaction spot to be looking for. That's, it's going to shred through this before then. But yeah. All right. And now you have the third scenario. Now, the third scenario is where we come down and this, I mean, like, that's why I said they're conjointed. Okay. If we come down and fill this gap, all right, this is enough to signal weakness to me. All right, this is, yes, you want to see the lower low. You want to see this low. If you're a seller, all right, and you're looking to take a short position, you're looking, well, I mean, obviously you can start taking them when it makes sense, pull your triggers, all right? But if you are, like, you would be taking profit at these reaction spots, and then you're looking for when to re-add what you just sold off, all right, what you just took the profits on. Well, if you get the lower low here, you're automatically going to be, at least me, I am automatically going to be, I'm not going to say expecting because I don't know like what the market's going to do. But I will automatically be looking for sellers to step back in and make that lower high. So now I'm going to be watching my personal conditions, my edge, to see when they start popping up on a lower high. All right. And that's like all in all, that's kind of how trading trend works. All right. Which is why they've thrown us. They had a curveball going on. All right. They had a big curveball going on with this pattern over here. But, we didn't do too shabby with it. All right. So there was that. But yeah, if you do end up coming back down here, all right, it's not making the lower low, but it would be, this isn't a sign of strength. If you had this big impulsive move and you literally come pretty much right back down to the same spot. And yeah, now I didn't know it was there first, but yeah, then we could draw this and look at that. Wouldn't that just be so perfect, guys? We could see boom, boom, boom. All right. So then you come in for that lower high there. All right, so that would be that. All right, and that is pretty much what I am expecting here. Well, again, I don't want to have expectations, all right? But those scenarios are what I see. We'll say that. All right, obviously, you can just keep imploding up, I guess, all right? But, yeah, with what I'm seeing right now, all right? Plus, this was literally what we were looking for, all right? I told you guys that even if you do end up pushing up to the 322.08 gap fill, it is just going to form the bearish divergence here on the CCI, and that is exactly what happened, all right? You were up here right underneath this gap fill. You have a clear as day bearish divergence going on the CCI, all right? So now we have, guys, all right? This is what confluence looks like. This is what, if you want a glorious short trade, all right? If this is your ideal setup, okay? Monthly, has some room on it, okay? Now, I will say that. Look at that increasing buy volume right there. Look at that. All right. But then again, you had that and, you know, led to that. This is why I don't pay too much attention to the monthly time frame, guys. It trolls the crap out of me, in my personal opinion. All right. I don't see the point. All right. Well, I do see the point. All right. But I'm not going to say it's the most important thing. I think I do rather well not using it. Well, I'm not going to say I don't use it. I look at the monthly candlesticks, but every time I've tried playing it, this bear market, I have not done well, so I do not want to really focus on it. All right. So if you have been wondering why we haven't been going over the monthly time frame, that is honestly why. I just don't see a point. All right. But yeah, confluence, guys. You have a bearish divergence going on your weekly CCI going on here with this decreasing buy volume. But all in all, the confluence I'm pointing at is you have the bearish divergence on the weekly time frame. You have the bearish divergence on the daily CCI. You have the bearish divergence on the 4-hour CCI as you come into a gap fill. There you go. All right. Do we have anything on the 1 hour? Oh, sweet baby Jesus. We have this thing on the 1 hour, right? So this is complete confluence, guys. This is what that looks like. And this is, yeah, all right. Ideally, like this is the ideal short setup. It's right here. It's staring at us. All right. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, all right, again, this thing can end up going higher. And if you do end up coming down and making that higher low, if you see buyers step in here, let's just look at over here. Okay. Over here, right here. So this was your previous high right here, right? All right. You had your high. All right. You had your high. All right. So you coming up. You hit your high, so that could be where we're at right now. All right, so you're right here, right? You come back, you pull back. All right, this is actually like, you know, price action. If you're a price action trader, you could have very easily traded this, right? I remember we traded that, and then I started, you know, bringing a bias into it. Somewhere over there, all right? Somewhere over there. Hey, guys, all right? I'm just going to tell you right now, all right? I will do my darndest best to keep that bias out, okay? I promise that one. Because at the end of the day, I am here to make money, and that is the only thing I care about, all right? Bring in consistent income. I'm shooting for is, hey, over the next 12 months, if I can prove to myself that I can bring in 5 to 10K each month, like it has to happen every month over this 12-month period, then I can not work, all right? And that would be that. But until that time comes, no, all right? You need the proof of concept that has to be there, all right? It's not the dollar amount, it's the proof of concept, all right? There you go. But yeah, guys, I mean, it does show you do have the increase of buy volume, so I do think this does suggest we're probably going to come up, probably gap up on Monday, and then it probably opens right up around that gap, or it's slightly under it, all right? Or not under it. Or, yeah, it's probably going to open right around that gap. Fill the gap, then reverse off of there. All right. But what I was pointing out over here is every time you broke this high, right, you came down for a little like $10 pullback there, but you literally then busted up through that high for another like $10 move. All right. So now you have there, look at that. There's a $7 move there. Right. Well, now you pulled back you made your next high. Well, guess what? From that high, you then went on to the next one. You then went on another $8. Then you pulled back again. All right. And from that high, you then went on another $15. So if you were, you know, if you're trying to front run the selling there, all right, like you didn't have a good time, all right, there was that, all right, and yeah, all right, like it did end up peaking after that, all right, but you started shorting down here, all right, you were underwater for quite some time, and yeah, all right, it didn't end up working, all right, if you didn't adapt, you got screwed, and that was that. I think that is pretty much it, guys. I think the last thing we will talk about is Bitcoin, guys. All right, so you do have this weekly bearish divergence going on here. Like clear as day, see that going on in your CCI there, sloppy line there. On your weekly RSI is right underneath the overbought level on the RSI. All right, so right underneath 70 on the weekly RSI. The last time you were there, you were at your exact top. Bitcoin has since fallen, I think it's 80%. 77%. All right. So I'm just saying you had, I warned everyone. All right. Well, I'm not going to say warned and just told everyone, hey, all right, you have an extremely high likelihood of getting rejection in the zone. If you do break up from the zone, the next spot I'm going to be watching for is this 37.5K mark, literally right here. All right. This is where your reaction spot would be after that. All right. But it is extremely probable that you do end up getting rejection on there. On top of that, we do have the bearish divergence on the RSI and the CCI. All right, so that is the thing, along with what we have over here on the weekly CCI. So yeah, Bitcoin matches what I'm seeing on QQQ. I really wouldn't be surprised to, again, yeah, see that big sell come along. And I'm not saying a crash needs to happen, but over here on Bitcoin, all right, what I'm going to be looking for is, I'm going to say the same thing I said not too long ago, all right? We are looking for, where is my trend? Where's my 50 MA? Oh, trolled me. Give me my moving average. There we go. Give me my moving average, man. Hey, man. There we go. Visibility, no style. Make it red. All right, nice and pretty. There we go. I don't know why I deleted my moving average right there. All right. But what I am looking for is at least going to be a pullback to the 50 or the 200 MA. All right. If you do end up, if you end up seeing buyers stepping into the 50, then maybe, yeah, you end up holding that. But yeah, I mean, that like hasn't happened this whole time. All right. You see right here, once you're over the 50, you kind of were off the races. All right. And you didn't really come off to it until you had this steep pullback. All right. Which, again, tested it there. All right. And then you know, you went back off the races. But that was also, again, that was, you know, when we didn't have the weekly RSI right up here. Right. That was when it was all the way down here. All right, well, now it's sitting up here. I'm just saying, all right, price is in a completely different spot, all right, but conditions are the same. We likely get the same result, all right? History is not going to repeat itself, but it is going to rhyme. That is what I'm getting at, all right? And that is just about it. I'm going to leave you guys with that. And actually, one last thing is the VIX weekly CCI has literally completely came back down here. All right, which actually, hey, let's touch on a projection that we made, all right? And guys, we do these callouts pretty often on this channel, all right? Like this. We will gain tension over the years, right? I promise, all right? We will rise up in this financial industry on YouTube. Well, I mean, just everywhere, I guess. Your boy is literally always, well, not always, but over on the technical analysis page over on Weeble, I mean, your boy is on the popular, like, he's first there, like, almost every night. And, yeah, I mean, I don't really know too many Weeble accounts with over 10,000 followers, and we're about to hit that. So, yeah, given, like, another year or so, I think we, I know there's that one Spud Zone account on there that has like 50,000 followers or whatever. Besides that, no other account has anything close to that. So like, hey, all right, are we going to be the only one that steps up to that guy? Maybe, all right? I'm hyped. All right, but we did end up giving the projection that, hey, if you do end up seeing the buyer step in and hold this trend line, that is the scenario in which SPY gets a false breakout and comes back and gets sucked back into a trend line. If you do end up going down, you don't see the buyer step in there, then you're going to get your buying pressure stepping in at the zone, and then you're going to come back and backtest that trend line. This is the scenario in which SPY comes up and hits its 408.14 target. Well, not target, but gap fill. Look at that. You hit your 408.14 gap fill. All right, so there was that. All right, another call out came to fruition, I guess. There you go. All right. But yeah, guys. All right. We either just peaked or we are going to pull back, make a higher low, and then we're going to go up for that peak. And that will be a very nice shorting opportunity. I hope everybody's excited. And with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next one. If you guys would like to join us in the Patreon, you guys know that is down in the description below. If you guys did find value in this video, guys, seriously, please do just leave the like. All right. It would, I really would. I appreciate it so much. I'm serious. The more likes I see, I'm like, holy crap, I did really good this video. Like, let me know how I'm doing. All right. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.